Hello, everybody, and welcome to our first ever episode of the Real Life Gaze podcast. Hello.
Hello, everybody.
So, my name is Gareth, and I am joined by my lovely co host, Lee. Lee, how are you?
Hello. Yes, I'm doing really well, thank you. I've had a nice little family weekend so far, and then we're just finishing up the weekend recording our first podcast.
It's exciting. How are you feeling about being a podcast now?
A bit nervous. I'm trying not to say, "Oh, Gareth, look at this."
So, I mean, this is episode one is going to be basically giving everyone an introduction about who we are because there'll be a lot of people who have never heard of us before or are just finding out about us who, you know, don't know who we are. So, this episode is just giving you an introduction to who Real Life Gays are, how we came about, and what our plan is for this podcast. So, without further ado, first of all, Real Life Gaze came about in May/June of 2020 during the pandemic, the height of the pandemic when everyone was locked in their houses. A lovely boy called Reese decided he wanted to do some sort of show. And because he was on TikTok, he found Lee and myself, Gareth. And we got chatting and we agreed to all get together and create some sort of talk style show. In the UK, we have a talk show here called Loose Women. And we realized there wasn't really anything else out there for gay people or talking about topics and issues that specifically relate to LGBTQ plus issues. So we all came up with this idea to create a YouTube channel. And fast forward a few weeks of planning and recording, Real Life Gaze was born. And the name came about because we wanted it to be our initials of our names. So Reese, Lee, and Gareth, RLG, what would work? And we came up with Real Life Gaze. And that's how we were born. And we've been doing YouTube now. Our last episode was in December 2021, and we ended with 25 episodes. And we just felt that the time on YouTube had kind of taken its course. And whilst we had a nice little following and a nice fan base, we felt the best route going forward for us would be to change to a podcast, which is why we're here now. So you have Gareth, myself, and Lee. Reese is still about. He's just taken a little bit of a back seat, and hopefully he'll be joining us in the future. But right now, it's just the two of us. So, Lee, if you can tell our lovely, I can't say viewers now because they can't see us, if you can tell our lovely listeners a little bit about yourself, please.
Yeah, so I am Lee. I'm 40 years of age, and initially I was living in Nottingham, furloughed, found TikTok, then found the lovely Reese and Gareth and numerous other friends. And yeah, we decided we had all this spare time on our hands to create Real Life Gaze, which is amazing. At the peak of all that horribleness and everything else, it was really nice to have a little bit of fun and have a little bit of laughter and, things like that. So cut forward to now, I've now moved back home near closer to family. So I've moved from Nottingham back to Coventry area, and yeah, working and got a promotion recently. So yeah, I'm doing very well. I'm really happy, in a better place than where I was during the first lockdown. Gareth, tell us about you.
Well, yeah, like what you touched on there, where we're all in, a crap situation in 2020. The whole of the world was obviously going through COVID and still are in many cases. But one positive thing that came out of it is that we all came together and created Real Life Gaze. And whilst we were doing it for other people, we were doing it for ourselves as well, because each one of us was going through something in our lives personally as well, beyond the pandemic. So when I started Real Life Gaze, I was living with my ex-husband. We were going through a separation. So having this YouTube channel at the time was therapy to me. It was my way of escapism. and I loved it. And although we didn't have a huge following, the people that were listening were really enjoying what we were doing. And looking back at what we achieved over 25 episodes, we spoke about some really good stuff and really deep and meaningful. But at the same time, we had a great laugh. And I've made two amazing friends for life, which has been the best thing to come out of the pandemic, is the connections that we've made through TikTok and through Real Life Gaze. But yeah, a bit about myself. I'm now 32. 32 years old. I live in Scotland. I'm the Scottish one of the three of us. And I am a salesman. I've been doing sales all my life. And I'm also a Zumba instructor. I've been teaching Zumba for 10 years now. It's my kind of hour where I teach twice a week. It's my stage. I've got a performance background, so I use my Zumba as my way of showing off, shall we say. And I've got a great following, and I just love it. So yeah, and I'm sure throughout our podcast life, you'll get to know a lot more about us. But for more information and links to all of our socials, we do now have our brand new website.
Ooh.
The website you can find simply at reallifegaze.com. And on that, you have a contact us page where you can get in touch with us, ask questions, give us comments. If you want to appear on any episodes, please do reach out to us. If you want to just send us a direct email, it's just reallifegaze@yahoo.com, but the website does make it easier. And the website has the links to our Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, and also back to our YouTube channel where you can go back and watch all of our episodes. Which comes on to my next topic. What we're going to discuss is what we're wanting to do with the podcast. And it's very similar to what we were doing with our YouTube channel. We want Real Life Gaze to be an educational podcast, at the same time having a little bit of fun here and there. But when we look back at what we did throughout our 25 episodes over that, 18 months or so we did the YouTube channel, we talked about bullying, we talked about trans, we talked about non-binary, asexuality, gender identity, body image issues, mental health disorders. We talked about quite a lot of hard-hitting things that were specific to the LGBTQ plus community. And that's where we want to still take our podcast. Because the podcast is going to be on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or whatever you get your podcast, the opportunity to reach a bigger audience is so much easier. With YouTube, we were very limited. Trying to ask people to sit down and give, 45 minutes to an hour and a half of their time watching something was quite, a difficult ask. Whereas podcasts are huge just now, not just because of the pandemic, but the way we live our lives now through media. People I know listen to it in the gyms, listen to it whilst doing the cleaning or ironing. With my job, being a salesperson, I travel around Scotland a lot in the car. So I listen to a lot of podcasts. So we just wanted to be able to reach to a larger audience, which is why we decided the best route going forward is to turn our show into a podcast show. And because we're not wanting to ask everyone to go back and listen to or watch all of our YouTube shows, we have asked a lot of our guests that were on our YouTube to come on and kind of repeat what we talked about on our YouTube show on the podcast. So we aim to bring you our podcast weekly, especially season 1. We've got about 10 weeks worth of podcasts coming your way, and that'll be coming out every Thursday. We'll be launching it. Again, it'll be all over our socials. Again, it's at Real Life Gaze on all of our socials if you want to follow us to keep up to date. Our first episode is obviously going to be next week, and we have a lovely guest joining us, and that will be Brandy. Brandy will be talking about asexuality because we had a lot of feedback during that episode on our YouTube channel, and we think it's something that people need to be aware of a bit more, and it's coming into its own now. And it was just very interesting. So our first episode next week will be asexuality, and followed by that, we've got a lot of amazing guests coming back on, some new guests as well. We've got a lot of topics we didn't talk about on our YouTube channel that we want to bring to our podcast. And we've just got more flexibility and freedom within our podcast. So yeah, I'm really excited about it.
It's like we've evolved. The world has evolved from the first lockdown when everyone was at home. Everyone had that spare time to be able to sit down and enjoy us educating, interviewing people, having a a games drinking night or whatever it was. But obviously now everyone's going back to work. And like you say, with podcasts, you say you're driving up and down the country with your job. It's easy to just pop it on. You can listen to it in the car, at the gym, and everywhere. So yeah, and like you said, it's definitely going to be educational. That's kind of been all our main kind of goal, I think, for us and for everyone that's watching or listening. So yeah, I'm looking forward to learn more, and then
Well, this is the
hopefully
thing as
others
well.
come
What
well.
what we said during some of our episodes, we learned a lot, especially when we did like the Pride episode. Even I learned things I didn't know about.
Yeah,
Just lots of things that we want to educate ourselves as well as the viewers or listeners. And when we got feedback from certain episodes we did from our viewers on our YouTube shows, you know, most of the time it was like, oh, I didn't know that. I learned a lot, and that's why we do it. And I remember, one of our biggest fans, Lauren, and I'm sure she'll love the fact I've mentioned her. She said that through our show, it gave her the confidence to come out as a trans woman. And this is what we've always said: if we can change someone's life, or do something positive through our shows, then to us it's been worth it. If we've managed to touch one person or help change someone's life, then we've done something good. And that's why we want to continue it, because I enjoy learning a lot of things at the same time as educating other people, because there's still a lot of things, especially now, with what's going on in the media everywhere. People are interested, and there's really no excuse to be ignorant now. And we just want to give people a platform to showcase it and
yeah,
learn
definitely.
from it, and at the same time have some fun, because we're not all of doom and gloom and all about, oh, you must learn everything. We do like to have a laugh, and on our YouTube page we did do a lip sync every single episode, which of course we can't do on a podcast because it would basically just be playing music. So we're going to try and bring some fun as well. We're going to try and limit how many times we swear, because we do again want to appeal to a younger audience. I will watch what I say, because I do have a stereotypical Scottish way of using swear
What do you
words.
mean,
What do
Gareth? What
you
do you
mean?
mean?
I should get a beep, shouldn't I? I should get a beep beep. Because when I'm editing it, I'll be like, right, oh gosh, I swore about 5 times that episode. Let me put a beep in. But no, I'm really looking forward to it. And as I say, got all these amazing guests lined up. But if you would like to be part of Real Life Gays, we're very much interested in hearing from you. Any ideas you've got for the shows, or if you want to come on and have a chat, we will be opening up our show again to listeners to be involved. So again, question and answers, we love us answering them. So at the end of every episode, if you send in anything, we will get back to you. We love hearing from you. Any comments that you give to us would be much appreciated. We've got a really good following on Facebook. Twitter's getting there. Instagram always being good. And if you give us a follow, we'll give you a cheeky follow back.
Yeah. And we also, I've created it out of a backup account of mine. We now are on, Real Life Gays are now on TikTok. So you can follow us on there. Me and Gareth and Reese will be posting past TikToks of our own, but then also I'll be popping on there, the next show is live now, etc.
Yeah, because we can't forget that's where we all met. So although I don't think TikTok is as amazing as it was back in 2020 or even last year, we still can't forget what it did to us. I've met some amazing friends through it, including you guys. We've got real life guests from it. So, it's always going to be a big part of our lives.
Definitely, 100%.
So what we're also going to do after every episode, well, during every episode at the end, we're going to be doing a spin of the wheel. So so this little feature, I've actually got this from one of my favorite shows, One Tree Hill. I've got their own podcast called Dream Queens. Drama Queens. And they do this thing where they spin the wheel at the end and they say who's most likely to out of the three of them, or the cast members.
I would just like to add, I need to go and do a costume change. I'm going to be the glamorous assistant. I've got a gold sparkly number. Apologies that you can't see it. Gareth can see me.
So I can just say, Lee, our glamorous assistant, spin the wheel.
You just have to use your imagination. Imagine me in a gold sparkly gown, long blonde hair, heels. There we go.
You're gonna be called Tiff.
Yes.
So there you go. Tiff can spin the wheel, but we're going to do it a little bit different. We're not going to always say, who's most likely to. So this time we're going to say, would you rather? So I've got lots of options in front of me. We're going to spin the wheel and then we're going to see what it lands on. So Tiff, my glamorous assistant, spin the wheel. Oh, okay. Would you rather be ugly and rich, okay, or poor and beautiful? Go.
I would rather be ugly and rich, and then I would have surgery to make myself look unugly in my eyes.
Unugly.
Yeah.
See,
What
I would rather be beautiful and poor because I think what I could achieve with my body, I could use my beautiful looks to get myself a man who could then pay for everything for me. That's
you
awful.
may be beautiful, but you haven't got money for clothes, etc. You've not got a house.
I could use my look to get money. See? But I can see the argument from both here. But I would rather be beautiful and then work my way up by using my beauty, because we live in a world where a lot of things are based on how you look. We live in an Instagram world, Lee.
We do, yes.
I can get
about
sponsorships.
nine filters on most of my accounts. If I went missing, don't use any of my Instagram photos to try and say, have you seen this person? Because that person does not exist.
I mean, all three of us. I mean, Reese isn't here just now, but he would agree. All three of us are really bad for filters, especially Reese. Especially Reese. So if you go into any of our Instagrams, yes, you will see it. Mine isn't as bad as you two.
But I have met them both, and they do look like
similar to their Instagram posts. So yeah, we've both got different answers, but both valid, I would say, for that one. So that's just a little feature we're going to do after every episode, and we'll get our guests involved as well, and we'll always try and think of ones that are a little bit interesting to put onto the wheel. So yes, as we've said, this is just a little introductory episode to let you know who we are, what we're wanting to do, what we've achieved so far, and yeah, the podcast is the way forward. If you, again, want to learn more about us on our socials and contact us, please remember the website, reallifegaze.com. All of our episodes will be posted on there too, but you'll find them on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. Anything else you'd like to add, Lee, before we say goodbye to our lovely listeners?
No, that's it. I'm looking forward to, doing this weekly. Can't wait to speak to the guests again and, hopefully reach out to, more people and get more people involved as well. It'd be amazing.
Well, yeah, and this is we believe in it. We believe in this show. We believe in what we're doing is worth it. There's nothing else quite like it out there, which is why we feel there's a gap in the market for us. So this is why we're pursuing with it, working hard to make it hopefully a success. But as we say, it's not necessarily about how many followers and listeners we get. If we change one person's life or make one person smile or learn something new, then mission accomplished.
100%, yes.
So thank you very much, guys. This has been episode 1, just an introduction to Real Life Gaze and who we are. Watch out, next Thursday, we'll be back with our brand spanking new episode 2, which is all about asexuality with Brandy. So thank you very much. I've been Gareth.
And I've been Lee.
Bye.
Bye-bye.